how about teaching Quran within the family? For example, like sometimes when I do have sometimes when I sit down with my husband, and I'm reading to him, and then he's listening to my reading. But sometimes it can get really frustrating because, he's like, nah, that's what are you doing? That's wrong, and then I end up like, okay. So I kind of like go out and learn from somebody else. But the question is, how important is it for families to really get together, to read the Quran and, reflect on that?
It reminds me of my own situation. I teach Arabic to lots of people, but my wife was in the Dream program herself. She was a student of mine for a little while. She couldn't take it anymore. Yeah, it's okay. It's, especially in a married relationship, the relationship has many parts to it, and the teacher-student relationship is a different relationship, right? In a teacher-student relationship, the teacher is always right, and the student has to be corrected all the time. If you think that's how marriage works, you are looking to get killed. So, when I would correct my wife sometimes in class, she'd give me the look. Yeah. And I was like, I'm sorry, I'm just doing my job. So it got difficult. And it's okay that she can't learn from me. Actually, she learns from one of my students, and she's doing a great job learning from one of my students. And that my student corrects her way more than I ever did. But she can take it because there are not other facets to that relationship. You see what I'm saying? So it doesn't have to be the case that your husband has to be your teacher. It's okay, He might be a little upset about that, but that's okay, inshallah. I said, come on, I could teach like thousands of people. I can't teach you. You can't just learn from me. No, I can't. You're not a good teacher. Okay, cool. Fine. I accept. For her, I'm not a good teacher. It's just the case, But at the same time, for my kids, they love learning from me. I teach Husna. I teach Waliya. I teach Huda. They love it. But not all my kids. Some of my kids, when they sit with me, they get nervous. They get really anxious, and I could tell. And I've decided not to teach them. I've decided to give them another teacher. In other words, there's not one answer for this problem. Family relationships, you have to analyze, especially in a married relationship, you have to analyze what makes the other comfortable. At the end of the day, it's not who they learn from, it is what they learn. One of the things that I like to do with my kids is just share a dua with them and what it means, what the Prophet said about it, and then what they do is they go and tell my wife, what we learned today? What did you learn? This is the dua we memorized, and they recite it to her. Then I say, hey, tell your mother what it means. And one of them forgets, and the other one reminds, and then they fill in the blanks. I was like, that's pretty awesome. So that's how we engage. So you have to kind of come up with creative ways of tackling that problem.
After we got married, actually even before we got married, I found out and I knew that Noor already knew how to read Quran. And Dida Khatam, I always, really respected him for that. And I was like, oh, I wanna be like that too. I wanna be able to read the Quran. And that's when Noor and I actually decided to go for the class together. And the fact that he was there, and even though he's at a totally different level from me and I was right at level 0, the fact that he was there was very encouraging for me to continue my learning. Even though he's already done his tajweed, he's already done his khatam, he still went for class again. And that just shows to me that, it doesn't matter where you are, who you are, learning is always continuous.
How early do we need to introduce the Quran to children? And how would parents get their kids to really love and really get, into learning Quran?
So teaching Quran to kids, what age is a good age? Even that, in my opinion, is not one answer. Like, alhamdulillah, I have 6 kids, and one of them, amazing at memorizing. She's like a sponge. Every time, it takes her 5 minutes to memorize like half a page. She can just pull it off. Another child takes so long. He took like maybe 5 months and he got like 1 surah memorized. But you know what? We celebrated it. Because different kids have different aptitude. And the worst thing you can do is compare one kid to another. It's like the worst thing you can do. Why can't you be more like your sister? She memorizes so... Never, never. We celebrate each child's accomplishments based on their aptitude. You know, it's the same actually in other aspects of talent. You know, sometimes some kids are really good at art, some kids are really good at math, some kids are really good at, at writing, you know, and you have to identify those talents. And instead of saying, why can't you be good at math like your brother is, etc., you know, it's the same thing in Islam. It's the same thing. So if you see a child has a love of recitation and they like to memorize or they like listening to surahs, build on it. Build on it as best you can. And if you see that they're going a little slow, then go easy on them. Because the worst thing you can do is, my child memorized the whole Quran, but they hated it. That's the worst thing you could do. The point isn't that they should know a lot of Quran. The point is they should love the Deen of Allah. And you have to instill that love at this age. And if that means you take it easy, you take it easy. If that means they want more, you give them more, you know. But you guide them, you push them a little, but not too much, you know. You have to be very gentle with children when it comes to this sort of thing. You know, one of my kids, the younger one, Walid, he Tabbat yada abi lahabin wa tab. And he memorized it in kindergarten, and he loves it. He doesn't want to memorize anything else. And he recites it incorrectly. He goes, Tabbat yada. And I'm like, Tabbat yada. And he goes, Tabbat yada. And I'm like, you win. We'll fix it later. It's okay, you know. Too many times we are so interested in giving our children the outwardly, meaning memorizing, tajweed, recitation, you know, the ilmi side of it, and we're not focused enough on the psychological side. And I would say we have to balance those two things, especially the psychological side, loving the Deen, loving the Prophet ﷺ, loving Quran, celebrating it. These are things that we have to give to our children at an early age, inshallah ta'ala. Don't say, oh, I wish our family was normal. I wish we had a normal... No, hold on. Challenges in relationships are a part of life.